Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I'm Miss Lisa and this is my YouTube channel for all things math and science that I want to talk about. And today, this is biology class. We are going to talk about plant support and transport, which is about a sneeze, sorry. And I'd like to say I'm going to edit that out. I'm not. We're just going with it. I've got 3 videos left for this class, and this is going to be it. Anyway, growth support and transport, which is we're going to talk about stems and the woody parts of the plant, the sticks, and the roots. So that's support and transport is what sticks and roots are for. So first of all, stem structure. There's 2 kinds of stems plants can have. They can be herbaceous plant, which means they have soft stems, or they can be woody stems where it's hard. So, anything that's real flexible, a soft stem, then that would be your herbaceous stem. Now, in it, they have the venation that we talked about last time, the xylem and phloem. When I've done a bunch of these in a row, I'm not that good at talking. Anyway, xylem and phloem. And remember I told you phloem sends the sugar, the food, from the leaves down through the rest of the plant. And you can remember that because phloem and food both sound like they start with F, but phloem is actually a PH. And the xylem transports water from the roots up to the leaves. So these are the vascular bundles that are in a plant. And those can be arranged differently, you're going to see in your book. Now, woody stems are hard, and they have, I didn't tell you about the cortex. The cortex stores food in the stems. So something like that you eat the stem for the food. Let me try to think of something. Asparagus. Asparagus would be it. They store food in the stem because asparagus, it's got the root under the ground, and then it comes up the shoot and you eat the whole thing, and the flowery leafy part is at the top. I thought I wanted asparagus. All right, so that is the cortex, stores food, so we often eat plants for that cortex. Okay, so with a woody stem, it's made out of wood, and the outermost layer is it's got cork in it. It's got like bark if it's a tree, and then cork. Underneath that, it's got the cambium, little thin layer, and then it's got the xylem and phloem, sometimes in rings. Now, and you can tell whether something is a monocot or a dicot by, remember we talked about splitting the seeds, by the arrangement of the vascular bundles. Now, in a lot of trees, you have annual rings. They're called, and it's made of the xylem and phloem. And it used to be believed that there was one of those per year. If you cut a tree down, you could count the rings and see how old the tree is. Now they know, new research ruins everything, doesn't it? Now they know that sometimes there can be more than one per year, so trees can look older than they are. I know, it's disappointing. I want to be able to count the rings and know for sure, but you can't because it's caused by growth patterns. So depending on the weather, the growth pattern can be different. All right, so your book talks about the annual rings being one a year, but your book is from 2003, and there's been new research. There could be more than one a year. That it's not just as said as we thought it was. Now, one of the abuses besides just support for the stems is transport, and the food and water going through. Now, a tree doesn't have a heart, does it? So how does it pump food and water throughout? Have you ever thought about that? It's based on the properties of water. How a tree is able to drink, even those great big sequoia trees, they can get water all the way up to the top by the fact that water is a polar molecule. It's got a positive side and a negative side. That makes it a sticky molecule. Opposites attract, so positives attract negatives, and that causes it to crawl up these little tubes. Your book talks about that similar to if you put a string down in some water, it'll wick it up and you'll feel the wetness in the string. My sister who homeschooled, excuse me, I need some water. This video, coughing, sneezing, what else could go wrong? Hope I don't pass gas. Now that I've said that, am I jinxed? Anyway, my sister who homeschooled, I remember a long time ago, she did an experiment with her kids where you take a string and you take it over to a bowl of water and then you pour the water on the other end, and the water, if you do it just right, will crawl down the string to the bowl and you can fill it up. So it's because water's so sticky, it clings to itself. It's not sticky like honey, but water beads up, it sticks to itself, and it gives it all these properties which allow for life. And if you want to know more, I'll probably do a chemistry video on water. You can go watch the chemistry video and you can learn more, or just take chemistry next year. You'll learn more about water. Very important. All right, the other thing is stems are used for storage. So like sugar cane, it's got sugar in that cane, the stem, and you can chew it and get that sweetness out and then spit out the woody part of it. That's a good field trip if you've never done it. It's to go to, like in the fall, to an orchard that also makes sugar cane, makes cane sugar that you can, buy the pints of, and they show how to press the cane and then how to boil down the syrup and get the sugar. Here in Georgia, where I live, a lot of our sugar comes from sugar cane. In other parts of the country, they use sugar beets, but we get most of our sugar here with cane, sugar cane. You see it growing. We have all these sugar plants like Dixie crystals and stuff for sugar. All right, but anyway, it's a real good thing. So we get lots of products from plants like rubber, turpentine, materials for making chewing gum. Now, that's something we can talk about. That gum used to come all from plants. They would get the chiclet stuff from the plants and you would chew it, they would flavor it. Now, I think they're making gum out of petroleum because it says gum-based and it's not chiclet anymore. I think you can get real chiclet gum from health food stores sometimes, but most of our gum is bad because you're just chewing petroleum byproducts. And petroleum has a lot of stuff in it like benzene that can cause cancer. So I don't think gum is very healthy anymore. I mean, I don't know if it ever was, but I don't chew it. I used to love chewing gum, but then I got braces and it made my jaw sore, and I've just never really been a big gum chewer ever since I had braces. Straight teeth, don't like gum. Okay, anyway, you can research more about that. I'm sure you can find it on health food websites. Okay, now roots. Let's talk about roots. So roots, there's two kinds. You can have a single big fat root going down, like called a tap root, like what carrots have, that big carrot going down. And then, or you can just have little hairy stuff all spread out. And trees either have a tap root or the hairy roots spread out, the fibrous roots. So you can study more about that and look it up if you're interested in it. Now, how do roots grow? They have a root tip, which is where the cells multiply, and then they grow out from that. Did we talk about stems growing yet? Let me see if I skipped something. I think I might have. I skipped the growth, yeah. So also in plants, there's something called the terminal bud. And at the top like of a plant that allows it to continue growing taller is the terminal bud. People who work with plants will often take out the terminal bud, say this, so that it doesn't keep growing tall and instead it grows out and gets bushier. So like say in an orchard, you might not want a super tall tree. You want something that goes out more where you can pick all the apples and stuff. So that's kind of interesting too, that they'll pinch out those terminal buds so that things stop growing tall and that they grow out instead with plants. And my cousin was telling me that he does that with his tomato plants because he doesn't want them to put all of their energy into just growing tall. He wants them to stop growing tall and put their energy into making tomatoes. I've never done that, but he does it. I'm afraid I'll like pinch it off too soon and not get all the tomatoes that I want to get. Okay, so roots also have xylem and phloem and cambium and cortex. So you can look at the parts of that. So like we do eat roots where they have stored food like carrots and, potatoes, things like that. So roots are also used for absorption. They absorb water and nutrients out of the soil, like minerals that the plant might need. So when you fertilize the plant, you put it around the roots so it can be absorbed. They're also used for anchorage and storage. And you'll see where there's big windstorms and then the trees will come over pulling all the roots up, and you can see of how they're used to anchor. Let's see if there's anything else. You got some really good labs. One you're going to be doing with a carrot. One you're going to be doing with absorption, showing how root hairs work. All right, so I think that is our chapter on that. Come back next time and we will talk about plant growth and disease. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember, science is great.